When you talk about Mughal emperors needing to differentiate between an intoxicated Jahangir to a very liberal Akbar with his Dine-e-Ilahi and a very austere Aurangzeb, instead of clubbing it all and saying, oh, the Mughal
Well,
rulers.
I mean, the point is, I will not speak for Arjun. I'll say
Yes,
that the main thing as a writer is to first of all make sure that it is, whatever you're saying is
factually correct.
reflects the facts.
Yeah.
You know, the opinions are to be, and it is a historical fact that there were all these invasions, and one of the common themes of them, of their iconoclasm, was derived from Islam. That is a historical
Sure.
fact. Now, that is not to suggest that you should blame today's Muslims for it, but to
Sure.
also cover up the fact that there was a religious zealotry involved in it is also wrong. And incidentally, even in the case of Akbar, do be careful. I mean, Akbar did also carry out many, many atrocities. For example, the sacking of Chittor, where he dragged out 50,000 non combatants and massacred them. So, this idea that, Akbar is somehow a liberal icon is also to be taken with many pinches of salt. But anyway, the point is, before coming into all these uh, things, the most important thing is whatever you're saying properly referenced? Is it there in the contemporary records of that time, which are credible? Can you cross reference them? And so on. And that is what is the most meaningful thing. I mean, you can then state the fact and then give your opinion. You can
Sure.
agree, disagree. After all, I don't understand why you expect historians to agree on something that happened 500 years ago when you just have to put on television and nobody agrees on what happened yesterday.
Very true. And the same question to Jay also. Because you see what Nadir Shah did, for instance, and what Emma Shah Abdali did. And pretty much not around the same time, but with very little difference apart. And again, with the same purpose, but not with each other. And both being Islamic invaders, but both with a very different mission and very individualistic and the idea of greed. So when we use this broad stroke of Islamic invaders, we do tend to portray them a certain way, but where they might not be representing Islam, so to speak, but just as their own personal greed, and it just might go in today's politics to be thought of as oppression of the Muslims and subjugation of the existing communities which were there, which might not be entirely true.
So, nuance, of course, is important, but nuance is like the icing on the cake. And when the cake itself has putrefied, it doesn't serve much purpose only to talk about nuance. So, the cake itself has many broad brush truths that have been deliberately pushed under the carpet. Now, of course, Islam also came to India in other parts without conquest. It came through trade, it came through other aspects.
That's true.
But particularly when we are talking about the land of Haryana and related areas, there's no getting away from the fact that there were multiple invasions, there were all kinds of desecrations, there were atrocities that weren't limited to one or two. It hardly matters if someone killed 10,000 and someone killed 50,000, or someone destroyed X number of monuments and somebody else did more or less. So the broad brush truths which have been pushed under the carpet did a disservice to India, because as a modern republic, the largest democracy that human history has ever seen, which guarantees every citizen equal rights, irrespective of religion or any other consideration, turning a blind eye to the history that our ancestors have actually experienced and trying to misrepresent it does a disservice. I mean, that's still going on when it comes to places like Kashmir, for instance. Now, the point I'm trying to make is we never had something like a Truth and Reconciliation Commission that other nations that have come out of very tragic history have had to reconcile with the past and start on a clean slate with the equality and balance for all. Now, I think by that extreme suppression, by propaganda which was tried to be passed off as history, we have created fissures underneath our system that have to burst out some way or other. Now, how do we deal with that as a democracy is the big challenge. Uh, there are some who try to portray the realistic portrayal of history as some kind of an oppression of minorities. It isn't. I mean, facing up to the truth, as Sanjeev said, is a truth that happened earlier. When it comes to today's India, everybody is equal, everybody should have the same rights and access to opportunities as any other Indian citizen.
As they do.
As they do. So, my concluding remark is yes, nuance is important, but it has absolutely no meaning unless the vast majority of the historical facts which have been distorted and misrepresented also get represented fairly and accurately with proper research and backup without malice.